We are in Washington, D.C., and being a student of history and a history lover, of course we like cemeteries. And in the words of JD from the History Underground, today, we're in a really big one. This is Arlington National Cemetery in Washington, D.C. And I'm going to tell you what, if you've ever been to D.C. and you haven't visited this place, where you're missing out. This is the final resting place of some of the world's most notable men and women. You get a feeling when you walk in here that you're stepping back in time and you're actually meeting some of your favorite figures from history, because in a way, well, you are. Because you're not going to meet them in person, and the next best thing you can do is come pay your respects to them and meet them that way. So there is no way we're going to be able to see this entire cemetery. This place is huge, absolutely massive. But what we are going to do is, visit some graves and see some neat things and take you along with us. So let's get going here, because we got a lot of ground to cover and not a lot of time to do it. And I don't know if my legs are going to hold out for the entire thing. So let's get going and see what we can find. This is the grave of Robert Todd Lincoln, and this is their son Abraham Lincoln II. And if you look on the side, Robert Todd Lincoln. Now, Robert Todd Lincoln was the son of Abraham Lincoln. He was the only one to make it to adulthood. I'm trying to talk loud so you can hear me, but he ended up serving during the American Civil War in 1865 at the tail end of the war, and he was with Ulysses S. Grant during the signing of the surrender at Appomattox. After the war, he went into politics, served alongside many different presidents, and he finally died. I think he was around 86 years old when he died. This is very cool. This is Robert Todd Lincoln's grave here in Arlington National Cemetery. Pretty cool. But right now we are making our way to visit one of our presidents of the United States. But this is the grave of William Howard Taft, 1857 to 1930. He was president of the United States of America. And he didn't really want to be president, to be honest with you. He wanted to be actually a Chief Justice. Well, he did that. And he became president as well. And he was said to be a girthy guy, and was actually, his claim to fame, I guess, besides being president, was he was the only one to get stuck in the White House bathtub. So, yeah, heartbreak, Mr. Taft, but, you know, we all go there at some point in our life. But it just doesn't help when you're president to have an embarrassing situation happen. But, yeah, this is the grave of one of our presidents, William Taft. Very cool to see. Okay, it is very hard to find some graves here in Arlington National Cemetery. And there is no way we can see every single person that we want to see here. So you're going to have to come visit for yourself and make sure you grab one of these, because you're going to need it. But walking around and online this morning, I found someone's grave that I really wanted to see. I didn't know if I was going to be able to find it. But I'm over here at Mr. Taft's grave right behind me, and I ended up finding the grave of one of the people that I wanted to see most here. So let's go check him out. So here's a view at the back of the tombstone, and you can already see the name, Bradley, and 5 stars. This is one of the graves of one of my heroes, Omar Nelson Bradley, General of the Army, 1893 to 1981, the famous World War II general. And wow, this is surreal to see. You want to know how big this cemetery is? I'm lost, okay? If that doesn't tell you anything, then I don't know what does. I am absolutely and completely lost. And you know what? I don't care. It's all cool. So I get to hang out with guys like Mr. Phillips here, who has a Silver Star, Soldier's Medal, Bronze Star, and Purple Heart. So I'm perfectly fine with that. So we are coming up on the Space Shuttle Columbia memorials. These are the men and women who perished on the Challenger, not the Columbia. I don't know what I'm thinking about. But the Challenger on the 20th of January, 1986. So the Challenger Memorial. And those are the astronauts that perished there. And this is a monument to the hostages held in Iran on the 25th of April, 1980. And I got their names there from the U.S. Marine Corps, U.S. Air Force. And then here's the Space Shuttle Columbia Memorial here. This is Columbia, the memory of the crew that perished on the Columbia the 1st of February, 2003. And I remember when that happened. But as many of you probably do. But yeah, pretty cool memorials here. And talking about the Challenger, this is the commander of the Challenger in his final resting spot. This is F.R. Dick Scobie, who commanded the Space Shuttle Challenger. He was a lieutenant colonel in the U.S. Air Force, January 28, 1986. And that's where he is buried, or his remains are buried. And then right behind here is the USS Monitor Memorial to two identified crew members who were lost at sea who rest here. They were on the Monitor when it went down on December the 31st, 1862 during the American Civil War. They were members of the U.S. Navy. And these are all the men who perished. Their names are right here. And then two unidentified crew members lay in rest here. So pretty cool gravesite here. You know, I'm walking up to another grave here. We're going to see our several right here. And I see this. Each headstone represents a story waiting to be told, a past to be remembered. And I don't think I could put it any better than that, of what we're trying to do here with this channel, and especially with this video, is trying to still tell those stories that have been waiting to be told and remember the past. And I think this is going to be a headstone that sticks out with me forever, and a quote that sticks out with me forever. So pretty cool. This is Oliver Wendell Lewis. He was a Major General of the United States Air Force. He was in World War II, Korea, and Vietnam, and a very, very prominent person in history. And on the back of this headstone, there's a quote from him that is, "Let not my death diminish your life. Walk in the world for me." So, pretty neat. Right beside Major General Lewis is Lieutenant Colonel John Posley of the U.S. Army in World War II, Korea, Vietnam as well. And then right beside them is one of my favorite figures in history, General James Doolittle. Again, a simple headstone, not like the others around him, but ordered the Medal of Honor, was in World War II, Korea, and was the general responsible for the infamous Doolittle Raiders. Pretty cool to see this grave up close and personal. This is Lieutenant Colonel Matt L. Urban. He was a commanding officer of the 60th Infantry Regiment, 2nd Battalion, F Company, 9th Infantry Division. And he was a World War II soldier who was highly decorated. He had a Medal of Honor, Silver Star with 1 oak leaf cluster, Legion of Merit, Bronze Star Medal with a V for Valor, and 2 oak leaf clusters, Purple Heart with 6 oak leaf clusters, American Defense Medal, American Campaign Medal, European, African, and Middle Eastern Campaign Medal with 6 campaign stars, World War II Victory Medal, Combat Infantry Badge, French Croix de Guerre with silver Silk Star, a Bulgarian, or Belgium rather, Fortier Medal, if I'm probably butchering that, and a Presidential Unit Citation 1 Oak Leaf Cluster. Holy bananas, that's a mouthful. Audie Murphy, well, I think you had a run for your money there, buddy. And this is the front of Lieutenant Colonel Matt Urban's grave. He was a legend. This guy was an absolute legend. Look him up. I can't go over all of that in this video, but look up his story, because it is one you will not forget. I mean, this guy was just absolutely amazing. And he would have been someone to talk to, but I was too young in 95. But, wow. I mean, walking through here next to Doolittle, you see Medal of Honor, Medal of Honor, Medal of Honor, Medal of Honor. So many Medal of Honor awards were given out. Just so many. That wasn't a lot. Robert Louis Howard, Vietnam, Medal of Honor. Joseph Jacob Foss, World War II, Brigadier General, United States Air Force, Medal of Honor. Alan J. Etheridge, U.S. Army, Korea, Vietnam. And he was also a tomb guard. Wow. Buried just feet away from the tomb he guarded. Here's another. David Shoup, Medal of Honor, U.S. Marine Corps, World War II. Just so many guys here. What awesome histories to be told. And a lot of them have been lost to history. Their stories have been lost to history. But, you know, this is the reason why we do this, is to remember guys like this that aren't easily remembered. One guy who is easily remembered is this man, Joe Louis, the Brown Bomber. Not a lot of people realize that Joe Louis wasn't only a world heavyweight champion boxer, but he was also a soldier during World War II at a time whenever people like him had to go through so much. Joe Louis Barrow, Technical Sergeant, U.S. Army, May 13, 1914 to April the 12th, 1981. And he's buried along with his wife. But this man was a true American patriot for everything he had to go through and then become the legacy he became. This is a story I have read before. Medal of Honor, Thomas J. Kelly. He was a sergeant in World War II. And I can't get into it here, but look him up. Look up his story. And then also Gregory Pappy Boyington, U.S. Marine Corps, World War II, Medal of Honor winner. He was a colonel. Colonel Pappy Boyington. Very prominent figure. Look up his story as well. So you want a piece of American history? Well, it gets no better than this. And this is the memorial to the men of the Maine here in Arlington National Cemetery. And it's got the names of all of the men who served on board on the side. And I forget the exact number of men that perished on the ship, but it was a lot. And this is a single event that started that conflict. And it's forever enshrined here in memory of those men who served. And there's a bell here also off of the USS Main. And we're making our way around to it now. The bell, however, was cut in half and placed here. So they have the bell, but only half of it. Now, where the other half is, I couldn't tell you. But, yeah, Audie Murphy is actually close by as well. We'll go visit Audie Murphy. And there's the bell off of the USS Main. Right in there. And then you can see the mast sticking up out of the floor. So in talking about the Main, we got some cannons here from the Main. It goes along with the mast, and then the ship's anchor off of the USS Main, which was blown up off the coast of Havana, Cuba in 1898. So that's the actual anchor that was bought off the ocean floor and placed here in Memorial. So very cool. Here's the, pardon the camera work, there's a USS Main mast. we finally made it to the resting spot of someone I've probably been looking for about 15-20 minutes now. And this is probably one of my favorite figures of World War II, or one of them. And this is Audie Murphy. Audie Murphy was originally from Texas. He was promoted to a major, and he served during World War II, and he is known as the most decorated American soldier in history. And he was awarded the Medal of Honor. He had 32, I think it was 32 other medals and badges, and he was in Life magazine. And after the war, he became a actor, and he starred in 44 different films. He also became a country music composer, found a little bit of success there. He was in To Hell and Back, that was put out in 1955, and it was based on his book of the same title, and he died in a plane crash in 1971 at the age of 46. And when he died, he was buried here, and this is a common grave for a very uncommon soldier. So this is Audie Murphy, the most decorated soldier in history. Pretty cool. And I swear, every time I turn this camera off, I find another prominent grave. This is Thomas Holdup Stevens. He was a captain of the U.S. Navy, commanded the U.S. Stripe under Perry in the Battle of Lake Erie in September of 1813, and commanded the Washington Navy Yard in 1841. So, very neat. Didn't even know he was here. And walking through here, I caught the eye of someone who had no clue I was going to see the grave of. But pretty cool that I found it by accident. And I am very grateful for that. So let's take a look at it now. This is the grave of Abner Doubleday, or Major General Admiral Doubleday, who is a 1838 graduate of West Point Military Academy, or the United States Military Academy as is better known at West Point. Now, he was at the Battle of Gettysburg, and a lot of people not only know him as his fame from Gettysburg, but he's also the man who created the game of baseball. So Major League Baseball is his claim to fame, and also being at the Battle of Gettysburg and his accomplishments there as a Major General. A lot of action going on behind me, so hopefully you can see me. But he was the senior division commander in the Army of Potomac's 1st Corps when the 1st Corps commander, Major General John F. Reynolds, was killed in the fighting. Doubleday took command, and he handled Federal left flank during the rest of the day's fighting during July the 1st. So we've been to Gettysburg. We saw where Reynolds fell and saw where Doubleday took command, and now we're seeing the final resting place of the father of baseball. Pretty cool. So, and right behind Doubleday, we have William Worth Beltout, who served during the American Civil War as a colonel in the 15th Iowa Volunteer Infantry. He was promoted to brigade, and he was a major general of the U.S. Volunteers and Secretary of War in 1869 to 1876. So, yeah, there's Mr. Beltout. And beside him is a very cool cannon from the Civil War. Now, this is a brass cannon. You always know it's brass whenever the barrel turns that pretty blue color. So, and this is an original barrel from the war. And if you look on the front, there's the stamps there. But I'm gonna tell you, there are so many notable people buried here. You cannot get to them all. It is unreal at the notable graves that are here in this area. And this is the grave of Francis William Meade. He's a major sergeant of the 2nd DC Infantry during the Civil War, and he was kin to General Meade. Henry Chase, U.S. Navy. Wow, so many. Here's Maud Stanton Western, or Maud Western Stanton rather. So many notable graves here. So we're walking by, we found one of the other graves we were looking for. This is the grave of Daniel Chappie James Jr., General Chappie James, United States Air Force, World War II, Korea, Vietnam, and very, very prominent general, 4-star general, and a very big figure in World War II history. If you're a World War II enthusiast, you'll know who this guy is. Alright, so one of the most visited places here in Arlington National Cemetery by far is the Kennedy gravesite with John Fitzgerald Kennedy and his brother Robert Kennedy. Now, this is a very solemn place of respect, remembrance, and honor of JFK and his brother. And his wife, when he died, had earlier saw an eternal flame. I think it was in Paris where she saw it, or somewhere in France. And she got the idea of that eternal flame for her husband and have one placed here. So as we make our way here, we're going to be quiet. I'm gonna let the site do the talking for me. If you want another aspect of this, go check out the History on the Ground and JD. But yeah, we're going to be quiet and just show this place off to you.
My fellow Americans, ask not what your country can do for you. Ask what you can do for your country.
So after a lot of walking, we have finally found the grave of John Basone. You may know his story depicted in the Pacific series. John Basone was awarded the Medal of Honor for actions at Guadalcanal. He grabbed a 1917 machine gun, only armed with it, and a 1911 pistol, and was able to fight off about 3,000 Japanese soldiers. Burned his hands on the barrel in the process because the barrel got hot. And he was awarded the Medal of Honor for that. Afterwards, he was sent back to the States, done a war bond tour, and then he went back into service and was killed February 19, 1945 at Iwo Jima. And this is the grave of Gunnery Sergeant John Basone. And since this is one of the graves I wanted to see, we have a stone here. And since we've come a long way, we're going to put that large stone right on the top of the grave of John Basone in respect for his service and a mark that we were here. So, Semper Fi, Marine. Alright, so this has been Arlington National Cemetery, and it's been a very cool trip, very fun trip. We got to see the graves of a lot of people. And yeah, I wanted to go see the grave of Ira Hayes, Native American who rose the flag at Iwo Jima. After the war, he became an alcoholic, had a pretty rough life. But he paved the way for a lot of Native Americans. And it was a really important grave for me to want to go see. But I didn't make it, which is okay. We saw a lot of other cool people, and there's a lot more buried here. We just can't get the time to do that. I mean, this place is massive. If you ever have time, come to Washington, D.C. Make sure you visit this place. I've probably walked almost 20 miles today. Be ready to do the same. And guys, I'm gonna leave you with that epitaph we saw on the grave earlier. It's the reason why we do what we do, and that sums up the purpose of this channel to a T. I'm so glad I'm able to do this and share these adventures with you guys, even though I'm not as big as Project Past or JD, some of my favorite channels, and I'm honored to call them my friends. You know, it's very neat to be able to do this and to teach people about history. And I don't know why the camera's shaking the head. Maybe it's in agreement with me. I'm filming this on a DJI Pocket, but lightweight, good quality. But yeah, this is the reason why we do what we do. And I hope you enjoy the videos. And until next time, as always, keep preserving history, stay safe, and let's leave you with the epitaph of that on that tombstone at the end of this video once again, because it's now my new motto, I think. We'll see you then.